Four, 14-year-old and a 4-year-old at home, and a slew of pets. So
yeah, I got a 17-year-old and a 15-year-old. So yeah, let me tell you, that's overrated. So all right, let me get this rolling. Here we go. All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, Jay Wendell here of the Asylum and Midwest Metal Show. So today I've got a fun one here for you. I've got the pleasure of talking to Mr. Connor O'Neill of the Tejon Street Corner Thieves. Been one of my absolute favorites lately. But that being said, how are you doing, man?
Good. Yeah, so, excited to be on the show and just having some drinks right now.
Hey, there's not. Well, look. First off, it tracks well, considering. I mean,
yeah.
You have a great many songs that may or may not involve alcohol.
Right.
So you guys had dropped Stolen Goods last year in the middle of the pandemic, which and rather than being able to do your normal tours, because you guys had a couple of tours that were canceled, didn't you?
Yeah. We actually, we were about 2 or 3 days away from leaving for a tour to southern Texas to do a festival and around the South right when everything shut down. So that was the first cancellation. And then we actually had our first European run lined up, and that one obviously got canceled as well.
Well, yeah, they locked down stuff over there a lot harder than they did even here. So
yeah.
But so I've been following you guys for a little bit now, and I had vaguely heard about you guys, but when you signed on Liars Clubs, when I actually really got introduced to you. So how did that come about and everything? I mean, obviously I love Amigo the Devil, so it's one of those things through following him. That's how I really found out about you guys.
Right. Yeah, it was it's kind of one of those right place, right time. I mean, a lot of COVID shutdown was a weird fucking time for everybody. But can I cuss on this?
Oh yeah, you're good. You're fine.
Okay, cool. But yeah. We had finished right before that first tour I was talking about going to Texas. We actually had Lightning Luke and King Strang. I'm not sure if you're familiar with them, but they're members of the Bridge City Centers as well. Yep. We had them in town, and they were actually tracking for this record that we were working on, which is now Thick as Thieves. Fast forward, we ended up finishing it, and we're about to release it. But they were in town to start recording that album, and then we were going to go, do that tour, come back, finish recording. And, everything shut down. We ended up only getting 3 songs done. And when everything fell apart or all our tours canceled, everyone was panicking. But I actually hit up Amigo the Devil or Danny and asked him, we're like, yo, kind of panic mode. What do we do? We're not able to finish this album. Would you mind if we released them as singles? Helping us push them on social media or putting them on Spotify or playlists or whatever kind of resources you got. What can you help us at all, basically? And he and his management team, Regime 72, got back to me, and they're like, yo, how about, of course we'll put you on whatever Spotify playlist or share your stuff or whatever. We love you guys, but how about we sign you to this brand new record label we're starting? And it was I tried to play it cool. Me and my guitarist Sean, we were yeah, let me talk to Sean and we'll see. And we're both fuck yeah,
right.
Trying to play it cool, maybe we should hold our cards or whatever.
Right, just try to no sell the whole thing while you're inside, just don't visibly shake.
Yeah, it's fucking incredible. It's one of those small world things. My wife has, been a huge fan of Danny before I even met her, and she kind of turned me on to Amigo the Devil. And then fast forward to now, it's damn, dude, one of those right place, right time, small world situations just kind of lined up.
Just kind of one of the serendipitous type moments, really. Everything just kind of worked out the way it should have. So
yeah.
So here's a good question for you, because sometimes I have a hard time describing in a good way to people about your music, a way that they actually understand just what you guys are all about and everything like that. So when you describe your own band, how do you describe it?
I always kind of it's to like normal people that I kind of gauge it on who I'm talking to, but for like the average person that I'm not sure is like necessarily a big like huge everyday concert goer kind of person, or maybe not like maybe not too familiar with like the subgenres of folk. I kind of say it's like bluegrass, blues with kind of a punk influence to it.
Mm.
For people that are like listen to folk punk or murder folk or that kind of thing, I'll typically be like it's kind of like trash grass. It's like drinking blues, more gritty than your typical Colorado bluegrass is, but we put definitely a drunk twist on that.
Although it's funny you mentioned like Colorado bluegrass, because honestly, like I feel like you're an interesting gem in the area that you are.
Yeah, we're definitely stand out. There's a lot of jam grass, and the Colorado bluegrass scene is kind of that more. I mean, it makes sense with like the beautiful outdoors we have, and
Right.
skiing and all that. It definitely will make a hippie out of you. But we somehow, growing up in Colorado Springs, we have this weird dynamic that really brings out like the punk rock and the rebellious side of you. So
go
ahead.
I was going to say, no, interesting thing about that actually. So I got my dad to listen to you guys, and one of the first things he mentioned is like, there are moments that it feels like listening to like Blues Brothers, Jim Belushi and stuff like that. Like, just especially like Sean's voice has some similarities there.
Yeah.
But I love my kids actually really enjoy you guys too. Like it's funny because they're teenagers, and of course they listen to some weird shit here and there. I mean which that's fine. I'm a big fan of the fact that they listen to music, period, and love music as much as they do. So, but they, over the last couple of years, they've really gotten into Amigo the Devil. They've really gotten into Bridge City Sinners, stuff like that. And
Right.
And considering that that's not, especially, I mean, I'm in a suburb, very much just suburb outside of Columbus. So like the type of stuff that kids are listening to is, some, stuff that they find on YouTube, and generally like, rap and pop rock and stuff like that. And that's it. So I'm glad that my kids dig on stuff that's definitely outside the norm, especially for the area and such. So
yeah, it's good they have a kind of an eclectic taste too. So
yeah, the first thing I saw from you guys was Never Meant to Be, which I absolutely love that video. And after that, I actually got to see like live performances of Whiskey and stuff like that. So when you were actually putting together Never Meant to Be, what was your? I mean, obviously you're kind of throwing down some bands that are influences or even poking fun at and stuff like that. What made you guys decide to go that direction?
it was kind of honest. I was having a conversation with Danny, and it was early. That was when what we called the Demons EP. That was the first 3 songs of Thick as Thieves that we were in the studio recording. And he actually kind of threw the idea out of, I mean, we were set to do a music video, and he's like, what do you think about, doing this thing where, you kind of try to be other people, but at the end, you come back and be yourself. And we're like, yeah, I mean, that's kind of the idea. And we took it and kind of bounced ideas back and forth and came up with the idea to, you know, us like dressing up and pretending to be these other bands that I mean, all the bands we respect. It wasn't definitely, and we even had, it was really fun getting a lot of the bands were willing to do like reaction videos for it too. So we tried to get the bands we were poking fun at to be, you know, interact with it and kind of be part of it along the way.
Right.
And it really just kind of grew like from that concept. And we've always done parodies. If you look at, you know, some of our shorts on Facebook or like promotions, we've dressed up as Amigo the Devil before to do show announcements, and we've, you know, dressed up as Bridge City Sinners to like when we're announcing a show that we're playing with them, we've always been kind of known for those like funny, like, you know, mess around videos. So to be able to put one into like full production with the music video, we went all out with it.
Well, you know, I think everything you guys put out honestly looks like you guys have a blast doing it. So I think that, and honestly, I think that's one of the reasons why the music just sort of connects so well in general, because it really does look like you guys are having a ton of fun.
Yeah, that's the idea. We always say rule number 1, it's not that serious.
So, I got a question for you, because I actually asked Danny this in an interview I did a couple years back with him. What made you pick up the banjo?
So my grandfather was a huge influence to me, and he was the kind of guy that he'd always do magic tricks. He played ukulele, he played banjo. You know, he always knew a new joke. He was that kind of guy, and rubbed off on me tremendously. And when he passed away, I was 12 or 13, and my grandmother gave me his banjo, like banjolele. It was ukulele was his primary instrument.
Okay.
And I kind of took that, and you know, about a year later, ended up getting my first 5-string banjo. My grandma actually bought that for me because I showed interest in the, you know, ukulele banjo, and it just kind of grew from there.
Well, that makes sense then. Like, so, what with what you write and everything, what ended up being kind of what influenced you, especially now at this point, doing what you're doing? Because I mean, I wouldn't say anything about what you guys do is necessarily, I mean, it definitely has those moments, but it's definitely not traditional either.
So like I said, there, like the punk roots, and growing up in kind of a punk, like DIY house show scene, really has an influence. And then for me, it was a lot of like traveling, and I spent some time in New Orleans and played with another band called Yes Ma'am. You know, a few years before I started Tejon, and I was actually living in New Orleans when my father passed away. I moved back here to Colorado Springs to take care of my mom, and then that was about 10 years ago. So that's how I linked up with Sean and kind of took the busking, like punk ethics and everything that we combined. We started on the street down here in Colorado Springs, and we play up in Manitou, and quite literally started as a busking band on Tejon Street. And, you know, next thing we got booked at a guy walking by. I was like, hey, you want to come play my bar? I'm like, yeah. And it slowly like went from like, I'm about 2 blocks from the corner where we started at right now.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
So right around the same time that I started listening to you guys too, one of my friends was like, oh, because I posted that I had shared the video for Never Meant to Be. It's like, oh, do you like them too? My friend Kitra, who's also in Colorado. You may have talked to her before. She's with Rock Rage Radio. Yeah, Kitra absolutely adores you guys.
Oh yeah, she's she was always wearing our T-shirt because she tries to wear a different band T-shirt every
Yes.
day, kind of
Yep.
thing. So
Yep. She made sure to tell me to say hi when I talk to you. So
yeah.
and she misses you guys. So
Yeah, we need to get another Colorado Springs show soon.
and I haven't been out that way in a while. I used to go back and forth for work, but it's been a bit. So company, my day job company no longer has offices in Colorado. So
Yeah.
but so I mean, obviously you guys started really, really small, kind of worked and drank your way up.
Yeah.
So one thing I love about it, like as time goes on and everything, you know, it seems like obviously you guys played with bands that are similar a lot of times, but you end up on a lot of shows that are all over the place genre wise and stuff. And I love the fact that you guys seem to blend in and out without a problem.
Yeah. It's wild. Like I said, like given our background, the way we came up, starting as a busking band with punk ethics, and then like getting into the bar band scene, you know, we'd sometimes be playing to dinner crowds and we'd have to adapt. And then we'd even get hired for weddings and we'd kind of have to, you know, dress up a little bit and adapt that way. And then we'd play these DIY spaces. We played Metal Fest, and over the past 10 years, we've just become really good at, you know, I wouldn't say catering to, because we always do our own show, and we've actually been kicked out of places for cussing that didn't want to, you know, that we didn't know or didn't, kind of thing. And there have been some incidences, but we've become like good at catering to like the situation and playing to our audience, you know, without sacrificing any of our own, you know, values or the showmanship, I guess.
So I know that one thing that I had seen that you guys were doing during COVID and everything, obviously since you couldn't tour regularly with tours getting canceled, that type of thing, that you guys were, so you were playing from a truck essentially, or trailer.
Yeah, short bus.
How many of those shows did you do?
Hundreds. But I mean, we kind of got to a point where we do like 6 to 8 a day.
Mm-hmm.
And we had an email list where people were hitting us up, and we'd kind of try to like plan our route by zip code. And so we'd be like, all right, you know, today we're going to go hit 80909, and then tomorrow we'll do 80917 or whatever.
Right.
Because we were flooded with emails once that thing kind of blew up and the news got hold of it.
Mm-hmm.
And it actually got to the point where people were trying to interview us, and like the news was even kind of following us, and it was early on in COVID, and we were still kind of, you know, the whole point was to keep the social distance and do this because we didn't know what the hell was going on. And
right.
With the media and everything getting involved, it was a blessing for sure, but it got kind of stressful. And it turned into something that we like couldn't necessarily even like handle ourselves with the, you know, booking, and the people were trying to get us to go up to Denver, and it was just the whole thing. And the bus was halfway broke down the whole time anyway. It's like we weren't sure if it was going to even move, you know?
Right. Well, like logistically, that had to be kind of a nightmare. That, and on top of that, like especially keeping at that pace, I mean, it's hard to keep it fun if that's when everything's that stressful, you know?
Right. And especially during the most stressful time of my life, where it was like, oh my God, this disease is killing everybody. And no, you know, before anyone knew what the hell was actually happening, it was
right.
It was like, oh shit. Like we ran up to the mountains right at the beginning. We were driving the bus down from like Green Mountain Falls, which is about probably 20, 30 minutes west, straight up the mountain. So I don't know. That was a wild time, but it passed the time, and we brought smiles to people's faces. I mean, that was the best part for sure.
So were there any actually, you know what? Here's a good question. So what is the weirdest band that you have ended up playing, like either opening for or playing a show with, that just was completely most polar opposite in your mind?
Oh man. Well, I think we played this festival called 7-1 Grind here in Colorado Springs, and it's a couple of my buddies that put it on, but it's like it's not even like what you think of, it's like doom and like grind metal, like the whole thing, and like
Right.
thrash. And then we were the only like bluegrass band on the whole lineup, and it was like it was awesome, but it was definitely like the entire festival, everyone was metalheads and like every other band, so it was also like a quantity kind of situation, like being on a lineup where
right,
there's 50 bands and not a single one of them comes close to you.
well, like, you know, it makes me think of, so I end up covering a lot of like the big music, like rock fests and stuff like that. So like Sonic Temple in Ohio, I've done Aftershock in California, and I always thought it was kind of interesting to see how crowds react to like Amigo when they'd be on there, because, you know, everybody's used to these big frenetic shows and everything, and then there's a dude with a banjo and a guitar up there, and just
Right.
but seeing just how the crowd actually like, I always think at first it was really surprising and interesting to watch the crowds kind of react, because you know, different type of show. And now at this point, you know, he's being put up higher and higher and higher on the sheet as far as that stuff. The funny thing is, I feel like you guys would actually do really, really, really well in an environment like that still.
Yeah, I'm more intimidated with like the bluegrass festivals, honestly. Like the metal fest, like I love playing that and like punk with other punk bands. But when we play with you know, bluegrassy bands, that's where I'm like, man, these guys are actually good at their instruments. They know what they're doing. like we're out here like just slamming booze and yelling, you know, and like getting rowdy. That's when I get like somewhat insecure. It's like, man, this guy's kicks ass at the banjo. Here I am, like just you know. But it's fun either way. I mean, I think everyone's got that to an extent.
Right. I still think you guys should do like a tour where every one of your tour stops is like a whiskey distillery.
Yeah. I mean, I'd be about it. We'd probably die by the end of it.
Hey, it'd be fun getting there regardless.
Right.
So speaking of whiskey, what's your favorite American whiskey?
Man, I drink Jim Beam. I love it. People are always giving me shit about it, but Jim Beam with a Coke back all day.
Do you have a favorite do you have a favorite European whiskey?
You know, honestly, I just drink bottles of Jim Beam.
Hey, nothing wrong with that. Yeah. All right. So favorite beer then?
Cheap. I like
cheap.
Yeah. PBR probably. I've been on a White Claw bender for the past 2 years.
I did see the White Claw can come up, so hey, nothing wrong with that. They actually taste pretty good. So
it makes me feel like I'm like being healthy or something. I don't know.
Well, you know what? It does fit kind of with the whole Colorado Springs aesthetic, I think, at least a little bit.
Yeah.
So
I'm just really big on the fake it till you make it. And I'm like, if I drink these, eventually I'll get like healthy, you know?
Right. So, all right. Some random questions here for you. What is the weirdest place that you've ever had to take a shit?
Dude, okay. So we're playing a festival. We played this festival in Chicago. This is like the worst. You want to hear the detailed version?
Yeah, go ahead. Absolutely. Go into detail.
So I'm sleeping in the van, right? And the rest of the band is up in this person's like townhouse kind of apartment thing. They're crashing on the couch. I'm sleeping in the van to kind of keep an eye on it. I got a bed in there, and I like to, you know, FaceTime my wife before bed and stuff and talk to my kids. So that's the best way for me to get like privacy. Mm-hmm. But the festival had catered this like giant buffet thing for all the bands. And, you know, me and Sean both, we're both pretty big guys that I I ate a lot. And so I'm sleeping in the van, right? And like 6 a.m. comes around and I gotta go. And so I like hop out of the van and I'm like, doing the like sweat waddle kind of thing. Like, oh God, like it's coming. I knock on the door. Everyone's asleep, obviously. Everyone's partying. It was 6 a.m. Everyone's passed out.
Right.
I run back to the van. I'm like, man, like I gotta go somewhere. I can't make it. And like, there's people walking their dogs and like jogging. The morning people. But like, and I'm sitting there in my undies, like panic, trying to move the van. And I open the 2 doors. They swing open. It's like a triangle. And I've got like one leg out. I'm like, I don't know what the fuck to do. Complete panic. I grab a funnel and just push it up to my ass. Like just trying to get some kind of containment, dude. And it did not go the way I planned. It's like, it's everywhere. There's people just like, old lady walking her little chihuahua designer dog or whatever. I'm like, I had to sacrifice like a bunch of band shirts and like the sheets and like a sleeping bag just to clean up and everything. I end up putting on my swimsuit, like shamefully, like driving to this like inner city YMCA in like South Side Chicago. And I'm just like, I need a shower. And the lady made me do a whole tour of the YMCA before she let me like get a guest pass to use the shower. I was like, dude. So I don't know if that's what the fans want to hear, but
look, you know what, that might be one of the best answers I've got to that question ever. So
dude, the whole time I'm texting my wife too. I'm like, honey, like, oh my God, like, yeah.
How long did she laugh for hearing
the whole time? I mean, this ordeal spanned. It lasted probably 2 hours, from start to finish of me having a situation.
That is fantastic.
Yeah, it was something.
So, all right. So, what's the strangest thing you've ever written a song about?
Oh man. Some of the lyrics on our Down by the Bay are probably the strangest. They're very R-rated, and but as far as like a whole song goes, me personally, I don't know. Maybe no good is just kind of about being we always say this song's about being a big old piece of shit, and it's true, but kind of in a lighthearted way. I don't. That's a hard question to answer. Usually our songwriting is more, more serious, I guess, in like a fun way. I don't know what I'm trying to say. I wouldn't say anything strange, but
right.
Again, I don't know. A lot of shit seems normal to me that ain't normal to other people. So I don't know.
So, all right. So what's the favorite band you've ever seen live?
Man, probably we played Muddy Roots in Cookeville, Tennessee a couple years ago, and Municipal Waste played like a nighttime set, and that was like just out in this field in the middle of Tennessee in early September, like watching them tear it up was just fucking insane. Might be one of the best shows I've ever seen.
So what's the last show you went to go see that you weren't part of?
Oh man, I see a lot of shows when I'm off. I like I said, my wife, day manager at this bar that I'm sitting at right now, and I run sound on my off time. So I see a lot of shows. The latest like big concert that I actually like went out of my way to see was probably Mastodon at Mission Ballroom in Denver. Is Mastodon and Opeth.
Ooh, that's a good show right there. I mean, I've seen both of them live many times.
It was badass. I went up there and was looking at the venue, and it's the same venue. Like the following week, we played with the Dead South at the same venue, and so being able to see like Mastodon and Opeth, like watching them like just fucking with in front of 5,000 people, like definitely like got me hyped for our turn kind of thing.
Yeah, I'm still semi hyper. Last night, because I'm in Columbus, Ohio. Last night went to go see Ministry, Melvins, and Corrosion of Conformity.
Oh hell yeah!
Yeah, it was a fantastic show.
Yeah,
King Buzzo's still weird as hell.
Yeah.
But let's see. What was the most surprising crowd reaction that you guys have had? Like, whether it be like a weird crowd that you were surprised that you guys kind of got a good reaction or bad reaction or anything like that.
We don't. I mean, we haven't really been like booed off the stage ever, so it's like we definitely like I said, we've definitely had some issues with like cussing on stage and like some like, but that's not like the fans. None of the fans ever care about that.
No,
shit.
it's venues for the. Yeah.
Yeah, and but that's not even like a thing really. That's happened like twice. I don't know. I mean, like I said, for me, it's always surprising with the bluegrass shows. I always because I build it up in my head so much. There's so many good musicians on stage before us, and then we go up and like we played Winter Wondergrass this last weekend in Steamboat, and it was fucking freezing, man. And we played, and I was nervous about it because there's all kinds of like Trampled by Turtles was playing it, and there's like huge bluegrass bands, and we were just yelling, doing our thing, took off our shirts in sub-zero temperatures kind of thing. And like, people loved it. They were like screaming for encores. And I was like that is the last thing I expected. Like after,
Right.
all these like insanely good, like guitar and banjo players. But every time we do a bluegrass thing like that, I'm surprised by the reaction.
All right. Favorite pro wrestler of all time?
Oh man, I'm not much of a wrestle guy. That would be a question for Sean.
I think the last time I actually talked to Danny, most of our conversation ended up talking about wrestling. Actually,
dude, they're huge into it. On that tour, they had like a authentic like champion belt that we were doing like a games. Before each show to see who holds the belt kind of thing. But yeah, they're all about it.
Well, it's ridiculous how many like pro wrestlers have Amigo the Devil tattoos.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how the hell that happened, but it weird how worlds cross.
Yeah, they've got a connection in that world for sure.
So favorite video game?
Probably Zelda, Ocarina of Time. Like favorite overall video game.
Mm-hmm.
But I also like Halo 3 was dope back in the day. Now I don't have time for them.
Yeah, I've noticed that as people are able to afford more video games is when they don't get time to play video games anymore anyway.
Right. Yeah. I bought like a little control for my phone, and I've been playing Grand Theft Auto just on my phone, but I haven't, I don't even have a system or anything. My stepdaughter, she's 14, she's got a huge, the curved screen computer and stuff, and she's all about it, but I'm just like, I've been out of it.
Honestly, one of the only reasons I have as much computer stuff as I do is because my day job's IT. So, I mean, I work and weather programming and stuff like that. So I have more of this crap than I really want, but it's one of those things that last thing I really want to do is play games and stuff on them half the time, just because that's what I'm in front of it all the time.
Right.
So,
yeah.
Let's see. What's the one food that you will never say no to?
Probably sushi. Really seafood. I love seafood.
I'm a huge fan of seafood. I like anytime. I like covering shows that are close to the coast. That way I can get seafood.
Oh yeah, that's my favorite, man. Anywhere I go, I always look up what the town's known for, like food wise, and then I'll make a point to try it, even if it sounds like it's whack. I'll give it a shot.
Has that ever backfired on you?
I mean, not really. Sometimes I'm just like unimpressed, but it could be the time and the place. Some I don't know. What is it, like Columbus or Cincinnati or something? They have like the spaghetti
the Skyline. Yeah, Cincy has the Skyline chili, which is
yeah.
I've never been a fan of it, honestly. Which I've gotten grief for. I mean, like I know so many people that swear by it. I'm like, this is it. The chili itself seems runny, and I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely just one of those like hometown pride things. Like we got, we're really proud of Colorado chili, and I'll tell you, like Colorado chili is fucking good, but it's not the end all be all. But people around here will defend it to the death, like it's the best thing to ever exist.
Well, and like Texas chili, they don't even do beans, or they don't generally do beans in it, which I always thought was odd. But I guess beans is. I don't know. I'm not sure what their thing is with that.
I don't know. That's stupid. Chili has beans. Fight me.
So, all right. What's the most annoying habit that Sean has?
Dude, he screams like in the van or like when he's waking up. It's like he calls it a vocal warm up. But you'll just be chilling and he'll be silent and he'll just be like, well, like out of nowhere, right in your ear.
I'm sure part of it is he knows how much it drives you nuts. So,
probably.
Yeah. Let's see here. What's the one album that you own that you would that you generally hate to admit to people?
I really got no shame when it comes to that kind of thing, but I don't know, man.
Okay, how about this? What is the worst album that you can think of that Sean owns?
Again, I don't know. He's like a Spotify guy, and sometimes I'll be driving. I do most of the driving, and I'll be real sleepy, and he'll put on like sleepy shit, and that stuff is like, or like sad country.
Okay.
And it's not necessarily the music; it's more that I'm like about to pass out behind the wheel already, and then he puts on like a lullaby.
Let's see if we can like give you a narcoleptic moment while you're on the road, right?
Right, yeah. And also like so I've kind of grown, like even in my everyday like life, I've like, if something's like too slow or too sleepy, I've kind of like just been like, man, I can't listen to this shit. I'm trying to wake up and party all the time,
All right. So have you ever made up a story in a boring ass interview that you've done?
I don't think so. No. I mean, I've got plenty of crazy stories, so I don't really need to make anything up. I mostly have to like censor myself, I find, really. Like that shit your pants story that I just told. I feel like I should have held back a little bit on that one, but here we are.
Right. Look, it's immortalized now. It's tough shit at this point. So that being said, so what's coming up for you guys at this point? I mean, obviously, as the world is opening back up to a degree where you can where tours are actually firing off and stuff like that. What do you guys have going on?
We're getting ready to do a week-long run with the infamous String Dusters towards the end of March. That's really exciting. And then also in April, we're going to finally release Thick as Thieves in its entirety. We've been kind of trickling singles out on that. And that's, man, we're so excited to do that because it's been like pushed back and everything gets moved because vinyl will be delayed or, COVID happens again or this and that. We're kind of waiting for the right perfect time. And I think we finally, after, man, almost 2 years of starting that record, we finally are like ready to release it to the world. And so that's like our big main focus and our biggest like excitement at this point, is to get that out and then get some touring behind it to back it up.
I still think you guys should do the distillery thing.
Yeah. we'll see, man.
I mean, it might be trouble, and like you said, you might die by the end of it, but it'll be a fun time getting there, you know.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if your wife would be impressed with you on it, but
I mean, at this point, she's seen it all. She's
So, last but not least, why shouldn't somebody listen to you?
My first inclination would be like if they're trying to get sober. But Sean's been sober for over a year now, and some of our songs now kind of leaning towards like, instead of just like rowdy, get drunk all the time, a little more depth, and especially on this new record. So, I mean, I'd say it's fair game, even in personal growth in a situation like that. I feel like we still have content that people will be able to relate to. So, I don't know.
Well, first off, I'm hoping you guys actually come up around my neck of the woods here sometime soon, because I'd love to see it. I have yet to see you guys live, and that makes me really fucking sad. But yeah, whenever you guys are anywhere, even like within 2 hours of Columbus, if not further, and I'm definitely going to try to get to see you guys. Plus, I have some friends out in the Colorado Springs area, so I need to get possibly on one of those. I'm just going to go say, hey, I'm going to take a couple days off work, go up there, see some music.
Hell yeah. It's worth it.
That being said, anything else you want to say to the people that will be watching, listening, whatever?
Just for those of you that have been supporting us, like, thank you as always. And those of you that I'm just now introducing myself to, like, check out our stuff, and I hope you like it. Like, other than that, man, it's been great to talk to you, Jay.
Hey, I like I said, I appreciate you putting aside some time. I fucking love you guys, and I'm always in a better mood listening to your music. So,
oh yeah, thanks.
Well, like I said, thank you for your time. Hope you have a good one. Stay out of trouble, all that fun stuff, and hopefully never again are you gonna have to basically shit out a back of a van.
Yeah, God, hopefully not.
All right, man. Hey, you have a good one. All right.
Hell yeah, thanks.
Thank you.